it has been quite some time since we got on this show here. The
Hmm.
last time, I believe, was during the finals. It might have just been after game one or so of the Knicks versus the Spurs.
I think it was before that.
And really?
Yeah, I think it was.
Hmm. Well, I believe right now it is just about a month since the Knicks won.
Yep. Who?
I'm wearing a freaking Flash Zoom cap because I can't afford a Knicks finals hat at the moment. Must be
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, dude, you know you were there. I ordered this shit minute after they won, so I got my shit. Yeah, was it late June? So
Uh-huh.
yeah, I got my shit. I got my I almost wore my shirt today too, but that's in the room. But yeah, bro, I got my
Man.
shit already.
I know the lids at the mall I was at. They got like literally 13 in
Yeah.
stock.
Of course.
That's all they received, and of course, the two dudes that worked there copped their two, and then like, you know, shit was gone immediately. It's like,
Yep. Oh yeah, that's why like I didn't want to take the chance because like
uh,
last time I worked at Lids, I remember it was around the time I think the Eagles won the Super Bowl,
mm,
and dude, I saw how quickly those went and how we only got like one shipment of them at the
mm,
time. So I knew it was gonna be crazy, and I was gonna try to like even the conference finals you saw, I was reaching out to you to see if you could find some for me, and I'm like even the conference ones either nobody got or everybody was sold out. So I'm like I'm not taking
uh.
that risk with the championship stuff. Nope,
That's one
not
of
doing
those.
it.
It's one of those things where I know it's like it's a novelty to have it limited, but
Mhm.
you know it's gonna sell. So like fucking make more. You know everybody's gonna want them. Everybody's gonna want to drop the fucking bands on them. Like,
Yeah, it's well, because I mean, I'm shocked that that lid's only got like 13. Because when I worked there, we when we got the Eagles ones, we got a good amount. Like we got a lot, but they still sold out. But 13 is wild to me. Like I mean, because
uh-huh.
what I saw from like when I ordered, there were certain stores like up north that like had them like within what was it within 24 hours had them to give away and
Mm,
stuff. Like I remember, I think it was I heard like the Dick's Sporting Goods had them ready like next day to have them handed out and stuff like that. But I
mm,
didn't know that obviously. But either way, I was going to take the risk, and I know championship stuff is already made for both teams, and I know how quickly this shit goes up on the website. That's why like I was on my phone ready to order this
uh-huh.
because I wasn't gonna take the risk of not getting a goddamn Knicks championship hat and shirt. Like I was gonna risk that. Hell no, it's
Uh-huh.
my team. So trust me, like when the Giants won the two Super Bowls, every time I didn't order them, but I scoured. I got the hats, I got the shirts, the hoodies, like I got it
Mm,
all. I was not playing around. The Yankees, I think, was the only time I didn't like try my hardest to get championship hats because like Yankees have always consistently had hats and shirts and stuff, and I wasn't rushing nowhere to get it because I think by the time they won at that time, I was in school still, so I was like
mm.
I was gonna tell my mom to rush out to a Modell's or whatever to go cop the hat. But um, yeah, no, I don't play around when it comes to that stuff. And after not having a championship for 53 years, even before I was born, I wasn't gonna risk trying to grab. I see people still listing the hats on like Facebook Marketplace for like $60, $70. I'm like, y'all crazy,
Mm.
not crazy for that.
Yo, even just like standing in lids and looking around at like what's on the wall, like they are out of all Knicks jerseys, hats of any kind.
Of course.
It is. I'm like, oh, let me. Not that I had the fucking money at the moment, but I'm like, let me get myself a jersey, sometime. And there's just nothing on the walls.
Yeah, well, you're better off going on like game day or something like that. But I think even they were
Mm,
sold out. But yeah, it's so funny though because like what I see come out of the woodwork all the time when it comes to these championships is like always the fans that like claim they've been fans for like ever. You know what I mean?
uh-huh.
And I saw
I,
what?
I mean, I'll admit, I just got into it. You know,
No,
I've
hey,
said before.
hey man, I when you got, but it's different though, man. There's people that
uh,
jump on bandwagons just to be like, oh, this team is winning. Shit, you
uh-huh.
know what I'm saying? You got into basketball at the same time that you became a fan. It's different. I give you the pass on that one. I'm not, you
Mm,
know what I mean? Like, but like there's, I remember seeing some guy I forget from what radio station or whatever going around the streets of New York being like, "Oh, you a Knicks fan?" And dudes be draped out in Knicks, like, "Yeah, I'm a Knicks fan." And he's like, "Oh, you a Jalen Brunson fan?" He goes, "Oh, I love Jay Brun." And it's just like, "All right, what college did he go to?" And he was just like, "Oh,
uh.
I don't know all that." It's just like, bro, like, because him, Josh Hart, and Mikal Bridges, they all went to Villanova.
Mm.
And that's what all the hype is with that too. And it's just like, it was so funny. Then like one guy got it right, and then he asked the next question, "What college did Cat go to?" All this kind of stuff. It was so funny. But
Mm.
it's just I don't truly knock anybody for being a fan. If you're truly a fan, you know what I'm saying, have at it, have fun. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like they were exposing people, and it was just not fair. It was not fair to see it, bro. It's just
Uh,
like, damn, because it wasn't even just like somebody wearing like a Knicks hat or a Knicks jersey. Like the one dude had a jersey hat and he had like this big ass necklace, all this kind of shit, and he was like, "Oh
mm.
yeah, I've been a Knicks fan for years." And he's just like, "Oh yeah, when's the last time they won a title?" And he was like, I don't know all that." It's just like, bro, come on. like, we're not expecting you to know every little detail, but like, dude,
Um,
it's just like, come on.
the thing with the Knicks is like, to my knowledge, as someone on the outside who was not watching basketball, all
Mm-hmm.
I really knew was that like they were some losers, and
Yeah, ass their butt.
I mean, they didn't win the championship for 53 years. So it's like, how can I get into this if my most local team is ass, But
That's fair. Yeah.
that they finally had a good team put together and they were on a streak, and
Mm-hmm.
so all my best friends that are Knicks fans like you, like they're hyped. They see a streak going and things are looking promising, and I've already mentioned how it got me excited, and I decided to ride the wave.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta say, pro wrestling is the reason why I'm a fan of basketball now, and is a reason why I'm a fan of the Knicks now.
It's a reason why
And
you're a fan housing. Yeah, I know.
and pro wrestling is the reason why I've become a fan of soccer and the World Cup, but I'll get into that in due time later. But the thing with pro wrestling is it was the only thing I really watched. I would watch some UFC here and there because with pro wrestling, I love the one-on-one combat type shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I could never get into other sports like baseball, football, which is the most popular sport in America. I could never get into other sports. I could only love pro wrestling because of its scripted nature. Like, people don't like pro wrestling because it's scripted, because it can be corny and goofy. But that's the reason I love it more than any other sport. I love the stories. I love the trash talk. I love how lines can get blurred and things can actually get real, but you don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
But I love pro wrestling because of its stories. Like,
Yeah.
to be the most blunt with it. And watching everything happening with the Knicks this past season, I could see stories. Like, once it became clear that it was going to be Knicks versus Spurs in the finals, this is the first time I'm hearing of Wemby. This is the first time I'm knowing who he is, and so I immediately see the David versus Goliath story of Jalen Brunson going up against Victor Wembanyama, and I start becoming more knowledgeable of Jalen Brunson's father, who was on the team
From
in
'99.
'99
Mm-hmm.
and was there in the finals but did not win the championship. So, like, I see this story of a son winning the championship that his father never held. And I'm seeing this compared to pro wrestling. Like, when you look at the Jalen Brunson story, it's literally the Cody Rhodes story. You're
Mm-hmm.
literally looking at the guy, second generation athlete, second generation star, going for the championship that his father never held. That his father was a star. He was on that team. He was on this brand, whatever. He was at the top, but he never got that gold. And so
Right.
I'm seeing these stories play out for real. Not that Cody Rhodes' story wasn't real. I mean, he had to leave the company, go through the indies, and do his whole thing, which is very real.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm seeing these stories, and I see the whole Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges teaming together in Villanova way back in 2016, winning a championship in college, and then 10 years later, they're on a team again, winning a championship together, or at the time, going for it. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm seeing this story here of like dudes that stuck together and, from the bottom to the top. And so I'm seeing all types of stories play out in very real sports, and I'm seeing the pro wrestlingness of it, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't just the hype of
Oh yeah.
all the friends around me, but I'm seeing stories, and that's really what drew me in, and that's really what made me become a fan of these groups of guys in particular, because I see these three here have stuck together for a decade. And then as I'm seeing things like post-conference interviews or post-game interviews, I should say, whatever, I'm seeing how humble Jalen Brunson is and how very determined he is. And so I'm becoming a fan of his character as a man, you know?
Hmm.
And then I see the bromance with him and Josh Hart. And so now I'm becoming a fan of them as people, and I'm liking the team as the individual people that make it.
Yeah.
So this is my journey into now loving basketball and loving the Knicks. It's because of the pro wrestling aura around this team and these particular guys. I'm like super excited for the next season coming up. Like, I didn't know anything of this cup. I forget exactly what it's called.
The NBA Cup, yeah.
Yeah, that they've also won last season.
And you know who they beat?
The Spurs.
The Spurs.
See that whole thing is fucking so poetic.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like there's different avenues people take sometimes when it comes to becoming a fan of anything, let alone a sport. You know what I mean? And you have your bandwagon hoppers, people that just hop on to be like, oh, the hot team, LeBron went to the Heat. I'm a Heat fan now. Like, that's it.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? You have the people that just want to root for the underdog. You know what I'm saying? There's people that are still Jets fans out there. And to you, I'm
Mm.
sorry, people. But like, there's people that become fans for different reasons. Like I have a weird reason. I'm a Knicks fan. My favorite sport growing up was basketball. And I grew up in a family of like big baseball, football fans. You know what I'm saying? And like, some people liked basketball, but it wasn't like known. It wasn't like, oh, yeah, I love basketball. Like, let's go outside and shoot some hoops a little bit. Like, my family
Mm.
played wiffle ball when family got together. We played some like, some football, stuff like that.
Mm.
But it was basketball wasn't exactly up there as important, and growing up liking basketball as a little white boy, you know, uh I took a liking to it, started playing it more, with friends and stuff like that. And then you know, I've always been that guy, the kind of guy that always tried to be like loyal. We grew up in a generation that was very like very loyal to an extent. Like it was just like there'd be songs and shit like that all over the place, like repping your hometown, repping
Mm.
where you're from. And you never in Hollywood, you don't really ever hear anybody repping New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? You hear, California, you hear New York, you hear, you know what I'm saying? Like you hear fucking Ohio, and it's just like,
Oh
where's the love for Jersey? You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
then you look into the history of who came from Jersey, guys like Shaquille O'Neal. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You never would guess until you look into, you're like, oh shit, he's from this area. Oh my god, there's actually a lot of people who come from Jersey,
Mm.
but not everybody always reps it. So growing up, I was kind of like, oh well, what are my teams? My dad was a Yankees, Giants for football and baseball. I stuck with Yankees the whole time. Really wasn't a big baseball fan at first. Then when it came to football, it was more so me. Like I didn't like jump around, but like I had a brother who was a Cowboys fan, another brother who was a Redskins fan. My dad was like I said, Giants. I had another cousin that was Cowboys, so it was more so like I had like family members trying to like pull me to their side. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh,
Uh-huh.
here's a Cowboys jersey. Here's a this jersey. You know what I'm saying? Like not like
Mm.
forcefully being like, yeah, come with us. Come to the dark side. It was like and then I just was always so close to my dad. I became and stayed a Giants fan. And when it came to basketball, like my dad didn't really watch basketball like that. Like he did back in the day, and he would kind of say he's a Knicks fan because that's just kind of what was local. But then I saw that, oh, I was like, we have a team in New Jersey. Oh, we have the New Jersey Nets, and it was just like, oh. And my
Mm.
favorite player became Jason Kidd, and I was watching that Nets team with like Jason Kidd, Kerry Kittles, Richard Jefferson, Kenya Martin, and the whatever center we had that damn year. And like this team was getting to the finals almost every year, but then getting obliterated by like Kobe and Shaq. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like they were one of the best teams in the East, but also the underdog. And I was like, I'm a Nets fan through and through. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? I had some other favorite NBA players, but then I remember hearing rumors back in like the mid 2000s, like, oh, Jay-Z has part ownership. The Knicks might go to Brooklyn, because the Nets. I don't know if you know the history, but the Nets used to be they were a team from the ABA. That they were the
Mm.
New York Nets, and then when they came over and like the merger with the NBA happened and everything, they ended up becoming the New Jersey Nets.
Mm.
So they already swapped before, but then I heard those rumors and I was like, nah, they can't take one of the only two teams we have left in Jersey out of Jersey. Like, what's going
Mm.
on? And then I think it was around 2011, 2012 that they officially moved to Brooklyn. And I was like, and as a fan, and what I felt as being like the only basketball fan in my family, I was heartbroken. I was like, why would you leave me? Like, you left me as a fan. You know what I'm saying? I
Oh.
didn't leave. You left me. And like me and most other Nets fans didn't really carry over to Brooklyn because especially at the time they were, for lack of a better term, they were ass. You know what I'm saying? It was kind
Mm.
of just like, it felt like year after year, Nets owners and people like that were just kind of didn't seem like they were making the right decisions, giving a shit about what decisions they made. And at that time,
Mm.
I was like, I didn't want to be a Nets fan anymore. I couldn't. I was like, they left me, and it just seemed like the franchise didn't give a fuck anymore. And it was just kind of
Mm.
like, so I was like, what's the next team? It's the Knicks. And like, mind you, at the time, I think the Knicks did have Melo, but the Knicks were still ass. So I wasn't bandwagon hopping. I was kind of just like, my dad said he's a Knicks fan. I'll come over to this side. I'll start cheering for this team. I know who Carmelo is. I followed him through college. You know what I'm saying? Same draft as LeBron James. I'm like, let me follow the team, cheer for them. I knew they weren't that great. Went to a game. And I was like, I'll rep the blue and orange. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to stay with it, stay loyal to it, no matter how they do. And like, they had like maybe one season, maybe two within that time where they made the playoff. No, it was one season. They made the playoffs, won one playoff series when it was like Melo, Raymond Felton, J.R. Smith, Tyson Chandler. Good team. Team that was beating the Heat by like 20 points at one point
Mm.
and didn't make it past the first round or didn't make it past the second round. And next season, James Dolan being Dolan at first, but didn't want to pay any contract extensions, nothing like that. Team separated. And I was kind of like, well, this is what being a Knicks fan is. You know what I mean? It's just, it is what it is. And then you had those
Mm.
years where team after team, I probably couldn't even name you the damn two guards that were on the team. You know what I mean? And Melo played a couple more years and then, left. So it was just like, but then now a couple years ago, you have these teams drafting pretty good, having like a Barrett, players like that who are okay. Knicks are playing together a little bit here, like they're looking like something. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And then the free agent moved to sign Jalen Brunson. And I'll be honest, I was one of the people at the time. I'm like, oh, Jalen Brunson. Okay, like I wasn't shit talking Jalen Brunson. I wasn't being like, oh, why would we pick up Jalen Brunson? It was more
Mm.
like, okay, and like looking into it. Played for the Mavs. He was kind of more so a backup. But every time Luka Doncic wasn't on the floor and he took over, okay, this kid Brunson has something. But, I didn't have high hopes. As a Knicks fan, you automatically don't have high hopes. That's just what happens.
Oh.
And you were actually with me. Remember, it was me, you, and Kate went out to Chili's that one night, and they
Uh-huh.
were in the
Yeah.
conference finals against the Pacers.
Oh, Brunson
And,
was on the team at that time?
oh, yeah, he was.
Okay.
And, that was, and, heartbreak. They ended up getting killed down the line there. And I'm like, well,
Hmm.
it is what it is. But,
Mm.
I was still excited because it was just like, Knicks got that far. It's like, okay, so next season, they got this, you know what I'm saying? So this season, throughout the regular season, they were consistently staying between the second and third seed. Okay, awesome. You know what I'm saying? Brunson has proven more and more people wrong. Playoffs hit. I'm even talking to other people who are Knicks fans, even a guy that I work with, being like, think the Knicks are making the finals? They might. They got a shot, you know what I'm saying? But,
Mm.
the East is pretty strong, Cavaliers with Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, they look strong. Sixers, even looking strong. The Hawks, there is so many sportscasters being like, oh, first series against the Hawks, I don't know if the Knicks make it out of that. Knicks are one of the top teams. I don't know if they're making it out of that. Then
Mm.
Knicks go down 2-1. All right, well, it is what it is. Maybe we'll see. And then they make that run. And they sweep the Sixers, sweep the Cavs.
Mm.
And it was like, holy shit, they just might do it. And I
Uh-huh.
got to the point where I was like, I don't care who comes out of the West. I don't care if it's OKC. I don't care if it's the Spurs. But throughout basketball history, the West has always been known to be stronger than the East. Where it's just like a team like the Knicks, it's like, oh, they made their run. They're good. But whoever comes out of that West, the Knicks are
Uh-huh.
going to be the underdogs. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the Spurs with a powerhouse. Well, powerhouse, it's hard to say, but Wemby, you know what I'm
Mm.
saying, and like that team, that young team, you know what I'm saying. The only thing I could vouch for at that point was like, oh, they're young, they don't have the experience, so we might have the edge there.
Mm.
But matchup wise, okay. And then I remember sitting down for game one, being so quiet at first and being like, it's in San Antonio, you know what I'm
Mm.
saying, and they pull it out, and I'm like, holy shit, I was so
Uh-huh.
hyped. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, they could do this after seeing that, you know? And then
Mm.
we saw how every game from there played out, and it was just like you just couldn't put him down. You know
Uh,
what I'm saying? And it was just was David versus Goliath. It was just this. You had somebody like Wemby, who was a top pick guy like that, who came in 7'4". I think he was a little below that. He was still growing technically when he came into the league, and could move and ball handle like a big man shouldn't. And it was just like,
mm,
yo, this kid's 22, and look at him, like he still is. He's one of the top players already, you know. And then you have on this side, you have Jalen Brunson, you know, the guy who is not the 1A guy, you know what I'm saying?
mm,
The short guy, he can't be the top guy. He's okay, but he's not the guy. People were always saying it's like, okay. And then we saw what that not guy did. You know what I'm saying? So
uh,
it's just, and it was a whole team effort. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't just Brunson, but that closeout game, that
mm.
game 5, he we know who closed that game out. You know what I'm saying?
uh,
So it's all I'm saying is Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby deserve a fucking statue outside of Madison Square Garden.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I still scroll up on videos with Anunoby's tip all the time, man. With that tip in, like,
Man,
yeah.
I love how I love how I was feeling things I've never felt before. Like I said, like I've never watched basketball before,
Hmm.
let alone had a team and felt passionate behind it. So not only am I hyped and like I'm actually following a team and such, but like I'm still learning how to view it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at YouTube videos of whatever the fuck, just learning the rules some more. Like now I understand calling a timeout and substituting some guys, and like this alone is a strategy. Like,
Yeah, people get
um,
tired.
yeah, and it's like, oh, Cat got 2 fouls in fucking 2 minutes of the game here, so we got to pull him out and work with our players here because we can't have him getting more fouls and booted from the game. Like,
Right.
but so I'm watching the Spurs for the first time and I'm listening to what the analysts and commentators say. Like these are all rookies to an extent. Like everybody on this team is so young,
Hmm.
and I'm watching them play, and guys like Dylan Harper and
Harper's
Stephon
beast, man.
Castle, and
Hmm.
I'm like they're making threes and it's nothing but net, and it is frustrating. It's like, yo, these niggas don't miss. What?
It
And
felt like
like
that for sure.
and it's like Knicks won game 1 and then they won game 2, but you're still watching the games in real time, and it's frustrating. Like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
this nigga got the ball and he is swerving these niggas like, and it's like you're frustrated because your team is getting smacked around this first quarter, second quarter, but you got to respect the skill of these guys.
Oh yeah, man.
Still,
Of course, man.
and it's like as you're watching these finals play out, it's like, yo, fuck everybody on that team. But if Dylan Harper gets drafted to the Knicks, I'm hype. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
of course, yeah, of course.
And it's it is just a frustrating feeling
Mhm.
when a dude hits a clean three and you're just like, oh, this nigga don't miss.
Exactly. It's like it's trust me, like, I've watched these sports for so long. I'm 30. We're 33 years old, and
Yo, be quiet.
and
Don't say that too loud.
but it's like, I've been watching this shit for too long, and trust me, as being a New York fan all around, except for Yankees, most championships ever, but Giants and Knicks fan, even Nets, you know what I'm saying? It was like you're used to heartbreak. You're
Mm,
used to, oh, we're down this much. All right, it is what it is. Which is funny because being a Giants fan at the same time, those two playoff runs, we had fourth quarter Eli. You know what I'm saying? A guy
mm,
who you want to talk about coming from behind, same thing. It was just like, oh, you're gonna whoop our ass for the first half. All right, we'll see what we can do the next 2 quarters or whatever. Oh, third quarter, okay, may have put up one score, and then fourth quarter hits, and then Eli
mm.
becomes this. I don't know what happens, but the same thing happens with the Knicks for some reason. They decide they want to wake up in the end of the third quarter and finally start playing ball. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So it's just like, as a New York fan all around, you're kind of used to the okay, all right, okay, shit, I want to turn this game off so badly. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
It's just like, if it's one thing I've learned throughout the years, is because like my dad is, I've told you before, my dad was the guy where we can be in a pizzeria and they'll have like the small corner TV back in the day with the Giants on. They're playing so shit. My dad will look at the owner and be like, "Turn this shit off. Like, I don't want to watch this no more." You know what I'm
Uh,
saying? And like, I grew up with that, so I became the kid that was like, I want to turn it off, but like I believe, you know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
I believe they can come back. Oh, they're down by 42 points. It's possible, you know. And then, but then as an adult, I'm like half my dad, half that believe kid anymore. You know what I'm saying? You can ask Kate, you can ask other people around me. Sometimes I'm the, turn this shit off. I don't want to fucking look at it. But then I'll be on my phone, like, okay, I'm making a bit of a come. Okay, maybe. Okay, turn the game back on. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
But like throughout the finals, even you were with me for a couple of those games. It was like I get quiet and I sit there and I'm
Hmm.
just like, okay, all right, and then all right, here we go.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So it's a New York, man, except for maybe the Yankees. You're used to heartbreak here and there too much sometimes. So it's like
Hmm.
that's why I feel like the Knicks, especially Knicks fans, deserve to celebrate for this. We deserve this. We deserve to be loud and climbing fucking light poles and shit. And you know what I'm saying? Like
Uh,
I even debated going to the parade, but I knew I was gonna make it in time.
uh-huh.
So you know what I mean? But yeah, dude, it's like now you've seen what it is to be like these other sports fans. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like it's being passionate about these teams and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Which I also even heard you've been focusing on the World Cup as well.
Dude, let me tell you, this is gonna sound crazy at first, but the Knicks have ruined other sports and games from other teams with this finals run. And let me explain how. So
Mhm.
many games in a row, even, they've been down by 20 points, 15 points, 26 points, and they've somehow made a comeback.
Mm.
I'm watching some of these World Cup games. I think it was the latest game. It was the U.S. versus England or Norway.
It was England,
Bro,
yeah. Yeah.
they get scored on, it's 0-1. They get scored on again, it's 0-2. They get a goal, cool. But then they concede a goal yet again. It's like 1-3. It's like 1-4. They are so behind, and you're looking at the clock. It's 90 minutes in. We're into extra time, just barely. And I'm watching this as a Knicks fan who's seen the Knicks pull off amazing comebacks late in the fourth
Mm.
quarter. I'm like, yo, they're only down by 3 goals. They can
Yeah.
still they can still make a comeback,
Being
even
down.
though even though there's only 4 minutes left of this fucking game. I'm still like, yo, it's possible.
We'll see.
No, it's not.
No,
They fucking. We're 90 minutes in. That's not happening.
it's yeah.
And
Being down like 3 goals is like being down 40 points in the NBA. It's just like
bro,
maybe.
I now watch other games or other sports, and I'm looking at such a lopsided scoreboard, and I'm like, yo, they got a chance to make a comeback. Them niggas don't got the sauce like the Knicks do. So the Knicks have spoiled other sports in that sense. Like they've made so many comebacks, so many unbelievable ones that I'm looking at other teams like, yo, they can still do it when there's only 2 minutes left.
Or wasn't it? But wasn't yeah? It was Argentina, right? That had that recent comeback though in the World Cup.
I'm not so sure. I've missed
Yeah.
some
It was a
some
couple goal
games that I
comeback.
know
I'm
were
pretty
so
sure
close.
it was. Yeah. Oh yeah, because it was Messi.
Mm. I
Yep.
know there was a game I think with Belgium. I don't know between who exactly. Maybe it was Belgium and Spain. I might
Yeah,
be.
they were. So Argentina was down, 2-1, and then came back 3-2-1. Yeah, see, you got something there.
Uh,
I don't know what team you're a fan of for World Cup, but
man,
still,
it's so hard to keep up when they're doing 3 games a day and I work full time. Like, I'm at least catching them live on my days off, but shit.
yeah.
At least now we're getting into the semi and quarterfinals and shit, so there's gonna be less games per day. I can catch up on the more epic games, or at
I
least
think I,
catch the next ones live. But
I think I'm just cheering for Majin Buu at this point.
so, did I tell you how I've gotten into soccer, the
Nah.
World Cup and such? So there was this girl I was talking to that was working at the mall. I was visiting her store, or whatever, and I forget how the
Oh, Brazil. I
I
remember.
forget how the conversation started. I might have mentioned wrestling because I was at the Royalty Wrestling show most recently doing camera work, so I think I mentioned that. And then from there, she had mentioned some player. I think she might have mentioned Neymar, and I did not react because I did not recognize this name. And she was like, you don't know who Neymar is? And I'm like, nah, who that? She's like, like one of the most famous soccer players in the world. Like, do you not watch soccer? I'm like, nah. She's like, the World Cup is happening. You're not catching the World Cup. And I'm like, I've never been interested in none of that. And she's like, it's the World Cup. How are you not following? And yo, she was snapping at me. I was like inadvertently triggering her. But I'm like, I mean, I know the names like Ronaldo and Messi, and she's like, Neymar's top three, and I'm like, I guess he's three, because I ain't heard of him. But I'm like, you should put me on, like, educate me. And she's like, educate yourself, and I'm like, damn, all right,
Damn, all right.
I guess I will. I mean, I've gotten into basketball, and I've been so hyped about that. Let me try soccer, and it's been on in the past. My dad used to play some soccer. I don't know for, I don't know if it was like MLS or whatever the hell exactly, but I know he had a medal. He was the
Oh,
goalie and whatever. But I was a child. I wasn't following none of that for real. But I'm like, let me educate myself, and I know basic rules. I know fucking it goes 45 minutes and then 45 minutes and a goal is 1 point. Like I know the basic
yeah,
basics.
yeah. Hmm.
But I'm like, let me look at the rules some more and let me try to understand the field and positioning and such because I can turn on soccer and I don't understand what was a good defensive play or
Right, right.
uh, I don't understand psychology or any of that. Like to me, I could never get into it because if I turn it on, I'm like I'm just seeing dudes running back and forth for 90 minutes and it's 0-0. How is that exciting?
Yeah,
Nobody
yeah, yeah.
scored for all this time. I'm like it went on for this long and nobody scored, that means nothing happened. That's boring. But as I've tuned in and become more knowledgeable, I can see that it is a struggle back and forth. I can see, like, oh, the game has been on this side of the field for the majority of the time. That is because this team is dominating, but it is still 0-0 because that goalie is saving everything. So it's like, I see the struggle. It's like, this team has been dominating the field, has held most of the possession of the ball. That's why that team can't fucking score.
Right.
But this team that has been dominating can't fucking score because their goalie is just so on point. So like I see the struggle now. I see the back and forth war in just trying to get this one. And I think the tournament is made in such a way that countries are in groups and everybody plays each other once. And I think like a draw is 1 point, a victory is so much more, and goals
Right.
are factored in. I forget exactly. But the top two of each group is then put into this 32 team bracket. And I think this is the first time it's ever been this many teams. I think it started with 48 and then it's the 32
Right.
bracket.
Hmm.
So this is the first time it's ever been expanded to have more countries qualify. And I think the World Cup now is the most exciting it's ever been because it has expanded to involve so many more countries
Right.
and because it is being hosted in North America. Not to say we're better than everybody, it means more because it's over here. But, it's only every 4 years, and the farther back you go, there are less streaming services and less ways to watch it
Yeah.
live. And so the last time it was in Qatar,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how you pronounce it, excuse me. But if it's happening overseas in this country, and again, not to say that us English speaking countries are so much better, but if it's on the other side of the world and things like Peacock or Amazon Prime didn't exist and such back then, like, how am I supposed to catch these games at 3 a.m. when I got a full time job? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're having 3 games a day. But now, it being in North America, and now today we have so many services like Peacock. I'm watching it on the Fox One channel on YouTube. And you've got your channels like Fox or Telemundo. But not only do you have your non cable services, but everything's on demand. So if you miss it, you could just rewind, bring it right back up. It's all so much more easy to digest and catch up on all these freaking games. And because, social media was strong in 2022, but now like algorithms and such have changed, at least on Twitter. Like now it's not just likes and retweets. Now views are a factor for more things to show up on your feed.
Right. Right.
And TikTok is big now. So as social media has grown and as these streaming services have become more available, I think now the World Cup has more eyes on it than ever before. And because we're the host nation, the US was playing, I guess, better than they ever have, to my knowledge. There's just been a lot more hype from the US as viewers, I guess. So, me educating myself on the game and knowing what I'm looking at and just seeing it all on my social media feeds now, I'm like very hyped and very much enjoying it now. And a shout out to the Chiseled Adonis. He's one of my favorite content creators. He's been streaming just about every single game, and I've been tuned in with two windows on my PC, one of the game and one of his stream giving live commentary and such. And the dude is just so charismatic, and he knows what he's looking at. He's giving play-by-play himself.
Right.
And so I'm very excited watching along with his stream, and I'm very much enjoying this whole World Cup thing. And now that my feeds on social media have World Cup stuff, I'm seeing the memes, I'm seeing what people have to say about certain players. People talking about how Erling Haaland looks like Super Boo, and they're like, this homunculus Super Boo variant keeps fucking scoring. I see Mbappe, who plays from France, is breaking records, and they call him Dictator Mbappe, the General Mbappe. I see these memes and like these AI music videos of him, and I'm getting a good laugh. I'm enjoying all of it. And it all goes back to that girl shaming me for not watching. So thank you for getting me into this.
Right?
I am so hyped, and it very much helps that me being such a big wrestling fan, WWE has been so fucking stale and ass this year. I am so glad I have other sports to get into and enjoy.
There you go. There you go.
Man, I don't remember what game it was, but I remember having the Knicks game and Raw in two separate windows on my monitor, and I'm just casually keeping track of each thing, but I've got the audio from the Knicks game, and that window is a little larger. I'm watching that game, and I'm hearing the crowd, I'm seeing them on their feet cheering so loud and boisterous. And then once that game is over, I close it out and put full focus on Raw. It was already past 10 p.m. It's at the last segment. It's Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu cutting a promo. And when I'm fully tuned into this now, bro, the crowd is so silent. They're giving such monotone dialogue that is just so basic and not full of any substance. And I'm just like, I might as well just tune into the fucking post-game interviews on the fucking NBA feed. Like, I'm like, bro, this promo segment, it has nothing. I'm like, I'm like, this is my passion. This is the thing I've been with for 20 plus years, and you're boring me. Like, this is the thing I'm trying to pursue. I'm like excited to have a career in this, but it's like, this program has no fucking life to it. I'm not motivated to continue pursuing it. Jesus Christ, I'm like so fucking bored, and like they are like so devoid of any creativity or any excitement right now. I'm just like, I don't have the motivation to pursue and want to work with these guys potentially. Like, imagine I go viral and blow up and I get fucking signed. I'm like, I'm not excited to fucking work in this corporate ass, commercial ass bullshit. Oh my god, WrestleMania with its fucking commercials in between every goddamn thing, and the matches I'm most excited for go 7 fucking minutes. I'm like, you're fucking killing my passion here. I want to pursue a career and a lifestyle in this, and it's like I don't want to anymore because you're fucking killing. Oh my god. Anyway. Shout out to Danhausen and the Knicks, and like I said, pro wrestling is the reason I've become a fan of other sports. I mentioned how pro wrestling made me become a fan of the Knicks and the brotherhood of some of the players and the stories, the father-son, David Goliath. But pro wrestling has gotten me into soccer, in that now that I've educated myself on how the game works and the players, I'm seeing like, oh, this dude, Messi, is considered one of the GOATs, and Ronaldo is one of the GOATs, and they're both still active. And it's like, oh man, if the tournament lands in such a way, you could have their two countries go together, and you're going to have the GOATs going at it. And I'm like, oh, that's exciting. And I see early on when it was in the group stage, people were calling Ronaldo washed, and I'm like, yo, this one of the GOATs, but I see everybody talking about he's washed. Like, what's going on here? So I'm looking at what people say on social media, and I'm like, I'm interested in the story of one of the goats being washed because I've seen that in wrestling, right? I've
Right, right,
seen
right.
the Undertaker embarrass himself and still with his body broken down, still chasing that one more classic match, right?
Right.
To really end it on a good note. So I'm interested in the story of this goat here being washed potentially, as people were saying. And I was watching one of those first Portugal matches, and I was seeing how he was playing kind of selfish. Like, there was a moment where somebody was passing a ball to another because that guy was in perfect position to shoot, but Ronaldo got in the line of fire and took that ball to try to shoot himself and fucking missed. And it was like, bro, that pass wasn't for you. Like, that wasn't your shot to make. But he got
Hmm.
selfish and missed, and it was what it was. So I'm seeing this goat trying to make more highlights of himself and costing it for his team. So like that's an interesting story to me, and for the tournament to potentially go in such a way that two widely regarded goats might clash, like that was exciting for me to look for. And I'm seeing countries that have never qualified before but are now in the World Cup because it had been expanded to more teams. Countries like Cape Verde that has a population of only 500 something thousand. They were such underdogs, but they were giving Argentina the fucking sauce. Like they were it was such a close fucking game and they were making some upset moments. And I could see a rivalry brewing between Messi, who is breaking records still as a top scorer, a top striker, just barely getting anything because Cape Verde's goalie was so strong.
Hmm.
So like I'm seeing a rivalry in real time happening between this top striker and this goalie. Like he's saving all the shit that's getting thrown at him, right? And like that goalie was putting on such overtime, putting in some fucking work. Like I think his Instagram following skyrocketed from like 50,000 to like 10 million or some shit.
Right, right,
I love seeing those stories, right? If I
right.
can understand and see something like, some guy trying to beat the washed allegations or the top stars clashing trying to outdo one another, like I can get into that. And I have. And the World Cup has been so fucking exciting to me.
Yeah, I'd always kind of kept my eye on the World Cup when it come around, especially when I was a kid. I had this stint where I was like super into like my Italian heritage and everything. And when the World Cup came around and Italy, for a long stretch of the time, Italy was like one of the stronger teams in the World Cup every time. I don't know if you ever seen the movie Kicking and Screaming with Will Ferrell. You ever see that
No.
movie?
No.
So so it's
What a title.
yeah, it is, right? Because he ends up coaching like a little kid soccer team or whatever. And he was that guy growing up that was trying to prove his father wrong and stuff like that. And he was always looked at as like he wasn't shit. And he's coaching a team that had his son on it. And then he was trying to pull out all the stops. And at one point, gets like these two Italian kids on the team that are great at soccer. And at one point, his whole game plan is like, all right, when we get the ball, what do we do? And the whole team is like, pass it to the Italians. And this, so when the World Cup came around years ago, like when it was the final was Italy and France. I remember like my cousins and stuff coming over to me and my parents' apartment to watch the game and stuff like that. Because my family doesn't watch soccer, but the Italian part of my family is just like, oh, World Cup, we'll have a get together and we'll watch it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because it's Italy in the World Cup. You know what I mean? So I've always kept my eye on the World Cup here and there just to see if Italy qualifies. Like I don't watch other soccer like Premier League or anything like that. There's a lot
Mhm.
of leagues, but always kept my eye on the World Cup. And like this year with the World Cup, I mean, obviously being on the East Coast, as you know, we heard about it obviously because it was coming to America and everything. And I slowly got more and more interested into it because of the dude from Norway. It was a Haaland or whatever his name is, and like
Mhm.
just seeing the comparisons because I know he's one of the top strikers in the world. Obviously, that was like one of the first things I heard about him. And then just all the memes and the comparisons of him looking like Majin Buu was killing me, like Super Buu. You know what I'm saying? Like it was killing me. I couldn't go through any of my feeds without seeing something about him. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? And it was to the point where like I remember I was watching I was over my sister's house for a family get together, and they had Norway on versus Brazil and
Mhm.
everything. And I had a family member who had money on Norway, and I was like, I don't know, like Brazil was kind of one of the favorites, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But like that, the dude Haaland just turned it on at one point. And you were talking about before how you got into soccer. Like I remember watching soccer, like World Cup stuff for the first time, and feeling the same way in the sense of like, oh, I'd watched plenty of sports up to that point, but it was more of like, oh, cool, and no score yet.
Yeah.
passing a lot. Dope, I guess, you know. But then for me, it was like when you first see those couple of shots on goal or the
Mm.
passes on goal, and you're just like, okay, hold on. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And it's like those exciting misses and shit like that. And oh, it was just right there. And I was also one of the guys growing up where I have a nephew who was like super into soccer, big Ronaldo fan. And one of the things that used to help me, even to this day as an adult, get into certain things, whether it be sports, any kind of like anime, comic character, comic movie, whatever it is. If there's a video game of it or something like that, and I play it, like I'm sold right there. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? And I was always big into sports games growing up. Played a lot of Madden, NBA Live, NBA 2K, and I remember the first time playing FIFA, and I was like, "How fun can this game be, bro?" Like, I'm just
Mm.
like, I'm gonna be passing and passing and passing. You know what I'm saying? And this is when I was like super competitive too, and I was playing like my nephews, and I think my brother played like once, and bro, we played for hours. We played for hours because if you know my family, you know like every male in my family is competitive no matter what the fuck we're doing. You know what I'm saying? You can show us
Mm.
how to play like checkers once or chess, and you can guarantee we're gonna sit at that table for hours
Ah.
just playing each other, like just trying to see who could win the most, all that kind of stuff. And I remember getting super into FIFA to the point where like I was getting different angles on the goal and shit, and I'm just like, oh, I'm so good at this game, bro. And I was just like, and I became like a little bit more of a fan of soccer just playing it because I'm just like, you know, even just playing the game, you're like, oh, I can see why this. It's not that easy to score a goal. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like I remember seeing a statistic of how many like miles technically that a soccer player walks or runs just by playing one 90-minute game. It's crazy. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest field to play on. And it's just it's crazy. And like even recently, like I've been like not super into the World Cup, but I've been keeping an eye on it. Like once that championship hits, I'm gonna watch the game like
Mm.
100%. You know what I'm saying? I guess I could say the only team I'm cheering for to an extent because Italy's not in it and stuff like that, and the U.S. got their ass kicked is probably Norway just because of Haaland, bro. Like representing DBZ, like I'm a watch. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
And like also, you talked about how you started liking Hart and this guy as a person.
Mm.
Like I've been seeing interviews and just footage of Haaland like out and about. Like, dude is funny. Dude is like one of the
Mm.
nicest guys. You know what I'm saying? And like just enjoying his time in America and just savoring every moment.
Mm.
And I've just been like, how can you not like this guy?
Mm.
It's just like I'm just cheering for him just because he looks like Majin Buu and he seems like a great guy. You know what I'm
Oh.
saying? And he's one of the best strikers in the world. And I'm not saying I'm gonna become a Norway fan or like a whatever team he's on, but like I hope he wins it. You know what
Oh.
I'm saying? But yeah, it's sports has been great this year for sure. You
Mm.
know, I'm not just saying that because I'm a Knicks fan. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a guy who, when I watch basketball, football, baseball, even if my team doesn't get there, I watch it. I watch
Oh.
the Super Bowl. I watch the World Series. I watch the NBA Finals. You know what I'm saying? Even if I miss a game or two, well, not you can't miss a game or two in the Super Bowl, but like for World Series and NBA championship. Even if I miss a game, like I'm always watching that final game. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? I'm always not cheering for somebody necessarily, but like wanting one team to win over the other for a specific reason. Because you talk about story all the time.
Mm.
There's always some kind of developing story with these championships almost every year, whether it's a story of the Knicks haven't won in 53 years or like, oh, this specific player has gotten swept every time he's in the finals or
Mm.
you know this pitcher has never even smelled the playoffs before. You know, there's always so many teams in each sport that there's always some kind of story. Oh, this is
Mm.
this player's first time. He just got drafted last year and it's his first year in the league and he's here. You know what I'm saying? Or like, oh,
Mm.
LeBron, you know, had one more championship away from matching Jordan. You know, shit like that. There's always now that
Mm.
you're into at least basketball, you're gonna see that now every year. There's always some kind of story, somebody, some team, some coach that it's
Mm.
just like, oh, if they can get there, if they can do it, you know what I'm saying, or at least if they can win a playoff game, there's always something to cheer for in sports, and that's why I love so many different sports. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
There's always something to cheer for. Always,
Mm.
every time.
You mentioned how Holland just be out there, like just enjoying himself in America. It's nice it being hosted in the US mostly because we have so many stadiums. in so many cities that are such lively tourist attractions. Like, I know, like, following wrestling, a lot of people would be like, yo, why don't you put WrestleMania in this stadium? Like, it could seat 100,000, but it's in a city that nothing really happens, you know? So it's
Right, right,
like
right.
people fly from other countries to go to WrestleMania, but, you know, they want to sell the city. Like, you got to have other things to do around the fucking stadium. You know, that's what sells it mostly. So if you're going to a stadium in Miami, there's so much to do in Miami. Like, not even like fucking bars or whatever, but like just go to the beach. You know, like there's so much
Right.
to do in Miami or in New York or big cities in Texas. There's a lot to do after the game or before it. Like if you book a hotel for the week, there's so much to do before that game in so
100%.
many of these cities.
Oh, trust me.
And
I remember the first time, not to cut you off, like, I remember the first time I went to Chicago. No, no, second time I went to Chicago. And I was dating somebody different at the time, and we weren't going for anything sporting wise. We were going for different reasons, like vacation, basically. And I remember she looked at me, knew I was a fan of baseball, and she was like, "We're going to Chicago. Would you want to see a Cubs game?" And I'm a Yankees fan, but I'm like, "Yeah, hell yeah, I want to see a Cubs game. That's one of the most legendary fields in all of baseball. Wrigley, like that's, of course I want to see." And she was like, "All right, then you buy the tickets, you handle the seats, all that kind of stuff." I said, "Sure." And the experience of being at a Cubs game is like nothing else. I mean, we stayed at a hotel off of a campus nearby, and we took what's called like a red eye train. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's just basically like a
mm,
train that comes through every minute or two and takes you right to the stadium or right to like where that part of the city is.
mm,
And Wrigley is in the middle of a city. And when a game goes on, especially when a game is won, they close off those streets. So it's just like an epicenter of
mm,
like that stadium and everything around it. And I remember we were there, and first of all, the Cubs fans, I gotta say, treat like we didn't wear anything Yankees or anything. I wore a Cubs hat, stuff like that, just to be like, oh, I'm at your stadium.
mm.
And they treated us like family.
Not get jumped. Let me put this.
Nah, I
Let me
mean, no,
put these
it's
strikes away.
it's the Cubs, so there's no ill will between the Cubs and the Yankees. But I just was more of like I was a fan that day. I wasn't a Yankees fan that day. I was a
uh,
fan, a
just
baseball
a fan of
fan, and
baseball. Yeah.
yeah, and every single Cubs fan we ran into just treated us like family. And especially telling them, oh, it's our first time here. They're like, oh, no, come sit here. There's some seats open here if you want to get a seat closer. They were holding our seats and shit like that. It was awesome. And
Mm,
after they won, it was a comeback win, mind you, of course. And they close off the city, and like the celebration, especially Cubs. If you ever want to read into that history, you want to talk about going the longest without winning a championship. Try like 100 years or whatever.
mm,
And the streets around them, it was just a party. It was just a constant party. And I remember afterwards, my first thought was not, "Oh my god, I can't wait to celebrate with everybody else," but I had to shit. And like I remember being like, "Oh, this is great, but like, where's the closest bathroom?" You know what I'm saying? I remember seeing like a McDonald's across the way. But yeah, it's like that too. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the city of Chicago, and their whole like just everybody felt like won at one point. You know what I'm saying? When they won that
mm.
game and shit like that, it was just a whole experience. I highly recommend people going to Chicago catching a Cubs game if you're a baseball fan, which most baseball fans know this. It's one of those teams and
Mm.
stadiums you got to at least see one game. You know what I mean?
I love seeing all these cultures, all these different people from different countries just mesh and
It's
really
beautiful.
embrace one another. Dude,
Hmm.
the South Koreans and the Mexicans are low-key
Bro,
soulmates. I saw like a Mexican chick jump on this Korean dude in the rain. They're kissing. It looked like cinematography, man. It was a movie. I'm like, what is going on here? There was this South Korean dude in some Spanish club. He is now being exposed to reggaeton for the first time in his life. This dude started gyrating. He was overcome with the spirits of Mexico. I'm like, yo, I love seeing this shit. And
it's beautiful.
and I got to understand more of what it means to have a home advantage. Like I've seen it in wrestling. They kind of talk it up, but it's a scripted thing. Like John Cena stepping into the Hammerstein ballroom against Rob Van Dam. They're like, Rob Van Dam has the home advantage because this is the ECW arena and John Cena's the non ECW complete opposite. Like, you're not one of us. So they boo the fuck out of him, but it's like, none of them live there. So
Right.
it's just a fabrication of the product in a sense, if I could put it in some sort of words. But I've seen, I forget what team was playing. I think it was England was about to play Mexico, and I see the people of Mexico. They are tracking down what fucking hotel those players are staying at, and they are blasting fireworks outside the hotel, making sure they are deprived of sleep. And they are playing mariachi music in the fucking streets, and they are just, they're not being chaotic, but they're being loud and making sure that those players are weak and groggy and cannot perform. And this is the first time I am seeing what a home field advantage looks like.
Oh yeah.
And even the police, they were like, all right, we've got some noise complaints, but like, low key, I'm a fan, and I hope Mexico wins because I live here. So like, hey, you guys got until 3 a.m. to disperse. The police were letting them have it.
Yeah, yeah.
And but you know, I'm seeing fans do shit like this to make sure that their country fucking wins.
Oh yeah, man. The passion. Oh man.
Oh man, I wish soccer was bigger in the U.S., but you know, low key, my woke analytical mind says that the reason soccer is not bigger in the US, for one, I've learned that it's essentially a rich man's sport in this country. Unlike other sports, you go through high school and college, you know, you're so good, you get a fucking scholarship, you make your way from one school to another, up the leagues and such. But to my knowledge, I haven't looked too deeply into this, just scrolled past it once in a while on Twitter.
Mhm.
But from what I've seen, it's more so like you pay to attend this fucking league and play. So
Well,
it's like a rich man's sport in this country. So like that's why
of course.
we be getting shitted on in the World Cup because it's not our best people that have been playing their entire fucking lives, you know. And even so, we have such gifted freak athletes. Like the tallest guys are favored to go into the NBA. Our biggest brutes are favored to go into the NFL, right? So
Right.
like who's really going to soccer minus the wealthy here?
Yeah.
And also I low key, like I said, my woke analytical mind thinks that they don't want to really show and highlight that people from those lower brown countries are so much fucking better than us. You know what I mean?
They are.
Paraguay can't be so much better than the U.S. because they've only got a population smaller than Connecticut. You know, like fucking. I think they don't really want to highlight that, so that's why soccer's not as big in this country. But I really hope with how big it's gotten being hosted in this nation and on more streaming platforms and more on social media, like I've mentioned before, I really hope it gets bigger because I'm like so excited for it now. But before I forget, I was gonna say, you know what really pisses me off is this narrative that Jalen Brunson is short. Because they were running with this whole thing, he's the underdog. They're like, Jalen Brunson can't be your captain. He ain't the guy. He's short. And I'm first being exposed to this as a new fan, and I'm seeing people talk about Wemby. This dude is 7'4", and you got your shortest guy ever going against this giant. And
Well,
I'm
not
like,
ever. Not ever.
right.
But
I'm like, this is the narrative that is being presented to me. Bro, I looked it up. Bro, this dude is 6'2".
two. Yeah.
How is he short? What the fuck? Like, I get...
He's NBA short.
Right. Like, I get in the NBA, you're on the shorter side, but this is not a short man. Bro, this reminds me, growing up a wrestling fan and watching Shawn Michaels, and they would always say on commentary, he's a small guy. And I would see interviews of people talk about, oh, Shawn and Brett, they're the smaller guys. They can't be taken seriously. Not like Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior. Like, they're jacked to the fucking gills, and we can't really market those smaller guys. They can't be champion. They're so small. And I'm like, bro, like, you know, he was on Raw, and you had Rey Mysterio on SmackDown, and Rey Mysterio was also the smallest guy. And in my head, because they were on opposite shows, they never really crossed paths. I'm thinking Shawn Michaels is as small as Rey Mysterio because of how much they talked him up as being a small guy. And then I remember the Eddie Guerrero tribute show, and they actually had Shawn Michaels versus Rey Mysterio for the first time ever, and I'm seeing Shawn towering over this guy. I'm like, this nigga is not short. I'm like, where did all this propaganda come from that Shawn Michaels is a small guy? This dude is 6'1". What the fuck are we talking about?
See, it's funny you mention that because I remember finding out and seeing how short Ray was and me feeling at least a little bit better because I'm like, oh, I'm taller than Ray. I was
Right.
like, but I'm shorter than Shawn. You know what I mean?
Bro, this has pissed me the fuck off. This whole Jalen Brunson's too small. Ugh. The
Hey,
man put 41, I mean 45 actually, was it?
45, yeah.
The man put 41 in the finals.
Look, the way you can make yourself feel better is by looking up players like Earl Boykins, you know what I'm saying, who was like 5'5", Spud Webb, you know what I'm saying, guys who were, I think, shorter than you, I'm not sure.
I'm 5'6". I'm as tall
Yeah.
as Ray, although Ray got more muscle and it's more
Yeah.
stocky.
Oh man, no, I feel you. Yeah, it's like these different sports and stuff like that. It's like, oh, he's a little small to be, it's like small. What the fuck? Because if you look at baseball, football, and basketball, and even soccer, you can bring up. If you get curious and look up the average heights for each sport, you'd be surprised sometimes because the shortest guys on average you'll see in the NBA. I mean, again, I don't know the exact number. It will probably be around like 6 foot to 6'2". And then you got like the NFL. Sometimes the shortest guys can range all the way back to like 5'6", 6 foot, depending. You know, those are usually like your running backs and stuff like that. You know, and then you got baseball. Baseball's height can be all over the place. There have been hitters. There have been players that have been 5'6", 5'8", and then like other outfielders and pitchers who've been like, for example, the Yankees, Aaron Judge is like 6'7". You know what I'm saying? Like,
Jesus.
no, so, but you know what I'm saying? Like soccer players aren't known to be super tall. Yeah, I think Messi's, I think around your height. He's between my height and your height. I know that for sure. Messi's not that tall. I know Cristiano Ronaldo, I think, is like 6'1", I think, but are you looking it up?
Messi is 5'7".
5'7". See, I was right in between. How tall is Ronaldo?
Cristiano Ronaldo. I like how it just autofills.
No, yeah.
Oh, he's 6'2".
Yeah, I told you. See, well, yeah, Cristiano Ronaldo also has one of the biggest followings on social media. But yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. It's like Messi's looked at as a small guy in soccer, you know, because the next biggest striker, most, popular, greatest of all time, whatever striker is Cristiano Ronaldo, 6'2", and Messi's 5'7". You know what I mean? But again, a different sport. You know, height's not needed for soccer unless you're maybe a goalie. You know what I'm saying? Because the height ain't gonna make no difference when you're using the same legs. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, have you seen the Women's Pro Baseball League?
I have not actually.
Hold on, let me share this. Well, frankly, I don't know that a women's baseball league existed at all yet. I might sound very ignorant in saying that.
Well, it's because I feel like we automatically connected the softball.
Yeah, so the Women's Pro Baseball League has announced the identities of its 4 inaugural teams: the Boston Hunters, the New York Heights, the Los Angeles Queens, and the San Francisco Fireballs.
Oh, okay. Wait, so they're being established now, is what that's saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I suppose women are going to have their own Major League Baseball league, and, much different than softball, which frankly, I don't know what the difference is besides the way they throw the ball. But I suppose to get more eyes on the women and women's sports, because when I was mentioning the World Cup to somebody I work with, I was like, yo, are you keeping in touch with the World Cup? Like, I've just gotten into it, and he's not really a soccer viewer, but he was telling me how women, I think next year, are going to have their own World Cup, just a women's World Cup.
Yeah.
And he was saying how the women are so much more physical than the men. Like the men, to be fair, I've seen dudes get drop kicked in the ankle, and it's like, oh, that dude gonna be limping for quite some time. But a lot of times you see dudes flopping and selling.
All the time. Soccer's terrible with it.
It's like a strategy to get that dude a yellow card, because if he's off the field, we got more of a chance here. And sometimes it's selling, sometimes it's like, all right, that ain't look like nothing. Like, I think you're all right. Get the fuck up. But my dude was telling me how the women will just get a cleat to the fucking nose and their shit will be completely broken. They're still out there sprinting. Like, they don't give a fuck.
Well, also the U.S. World Cup team for the women's are better.
Yeah, I think
That's
they've won
clear.
4 World Cups.
Yeah, dude. Like,
But so the women are about to have their own baseball league, and so I'm quite intrigued. I never thought I'd be into basketball, never thought I'd be into soccer, but I'm fucking hyped for them now. So like, maybe baseball is the next thing. Although it's so much to keep track of, I can barely keep up with all my favorite TV shows and fucking video
so
games.
yes. So for baseball, there's a lot more games a year, but it's also you don't feel as bad when you miss a game or two because there's so many. They play almost every
Oh,
day. You know what I'm saying? So trust me,
mm,
that's why. Like for example, to show you my phone real quick. I don't know if you can see that, but I just always have the Yankees score
yeah.
automatically come up when the game comes on. So I always keep
Mm,
track of them, but I don't always catch every game. You know
mm,
what I mean? There's 100 and something games per year for baseball. You know what I mean? So it can be a lot to keep up with.
mm.
What's that?
So these women's teams are named after feminist icons.
Oh, that's dope.
Harriet Hunt, a physician and women's rights activist. Dorothy Height, a civil and
Okay.
women's
The
rights
New York team.
activist.
Okay.
Lizzie Murphy, the queen of the diamond, as they say. And Lily Hitchcock Coit, Fire
Oh
Bell
shit.
Little. It's where these. I love learning where the names of teams come from.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, that has me intrigued just because it's new in a sense. Like, oh, maybe I'll catch the first game, see how the
Yeah.
women play. But I don't know if I got time for more sports in my life.
Yeah. Well, thank
Like I
thank
said,
God there's different sports for different seasons half the time too. So
yeah. At least everything is a seasonal thing, so it's not like
yeah.
I gotta keep track of everything at the same fucking time.
Yeah.
Like I said, the World Cup alone, having 3 games a day is insanity.
You know, that's why in other sports like basketball, football, baseball, you have one team. You know what I'm saying? And when they play
Uh,
is when you watch it. You know what I mean? So half the time.
uh. I remember watching the Chiseled Adonis live stream during one of the World Cup games, and he got so hyped when somebody scored a goal, and he's going off about it, just so hyped. And somebody in the comments was like, "That's not even the team. Why are you jumping up and down?" And he's just like, "Man, can't be excited for some football? Like, like you can't just be excited for the love of the game.
Yeah, exactly, bro. That's what it is. And
Teams be
that's what I'm
doing cool
saying.
shit."
Yeah, bro. Trust me, I've cheered for players who have been on teams that I fucking hate just for like the story of it sometimes, bro. Like trust me,
Mm.
I'm a Yankees fan. I've cheered for Boston players before just because I'm like, yeah, get it. You know what I'm saying? But
Oh.
90% of the time, I'm like, yo, fuck you.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? But like again, love of the game, love of you know what I'm saying? Like I hate the team. I don't hate him.
Oh.
Sometimes I do hate them and don't hate the team. Depends. You know what I'm saying? So trust me, there's been some dirt bags in sports before.
Oh.
Plenty of them.
One other thing I didn't mention exactly is I love the Knicks because of the underdog story
Yeah.
overall. I must ask you, how do you feel about these rumors of LeBron and where he might land?
Oh, Knicks are already off the table.
Hmm.
They already been off the table. I think it's between the Sixers and the Heat right now. Last I checked.
Hmm.
So, oh no, he wasn't going to go to New York. I'm not. Look. We just won the chip. I don't want to break up that team. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
I don't care if LeBron is LeBron. He's 42 years old. I don't give a damn. If he wanted to come to the Knicks and play off the bench, which that would never happen, sure. But no,
uh,
I would not want LeBron in New York. No.
I,
If this was like 5 years ago,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Now, no.
I I do not know anything of LeBron as a person per se. So like
Mhm.
I don't know if it would be like egotistical of him to join the Knicks, just because they just won the chip. Like, well, let me be a part of that. But
Well, according to his agent, apparently, if the Knicks would have lost the finals, he would have possibly gone to the Knicks as like a
mm,
oh let's but like
mm,
it's so I'll let you do your own research on LeBron.
uh,
He's one of the greatest of all time. You know, he's debated to be the greatest of all time. He is, from what I can see, I don't know him personally. Obviously, he seems to be a great person, great guy. You know what I'm saying? But he is probably one of the most chastised and criticized players of all sports of all time for his decisions dating back to when he decided to, I'm going to go to the Heat and team up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, two of the other top 10 players in the league, to play here. And because he kind of started the whole super team. Well,
mm,
and not technically started the whole super team thing. Technically, it was started in Boston, but he was one of the more powerhouse starters of the whole. Oh, me and Dwayne are probably arguably top 3, top 4 players. We're going to play together. You know what I'm saying, on this team. And yeah, he's definitely one of the most criticized. But I would recommend doing research on LeBron. He's definitely one of the biggest stars ever in sports, not just
Mm,
basketball. Because you could argue that he helped basketball become more worldwide at the same time.
mm.
So,
I've
but yeah,
heard like dudes in the UK be getting up at 3 a.m. just to watch some NBA live.
he's one of the last players who ever got drafted directly out of high school.
Mm.
So,
In my head, speaking as someone with not too much knowledge, I don't want to see LeBron on the Knicks because then I feel like that immediately eliminates the aura of the Knicks being underdogs. You know what I mean?
oh, that's true too. Yeah,
Like, I love that they have that about them, that they
yeah.
kind of still are viewed as underdogs in a
Oh
sense.
yeah. Hey, Jalen Brunson's back in the gym already, bro. He's ready for that next season. So,
Did you see that he's had to have surgery on his wrist?
yeah, man was playing with basically a broken wrist,
Now,
almost.
now that is fuel for debates. Like, and he had a broken wrst when he put up 45. You know,
Yeah,
that's just more to argue with, more ammo.
damn right, man. Makes it even sweeter.
Oh.
Like,
I was at work and I saw somebody in a LeBron Lakers jersey, and me being a fan of basketball and soccer now, like I want to be like I feel like oh now I can be a part of the conversation. Now
right.
I can just talk it up with strangers about shit, in sports. So like I saw this dude in a LeBron jersey and I was like, "Yo, my man, like what you think of them LeBron rumors?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't give a shit. I don't watch basketball. I just like this jersey." And I'm like, "All right, fuck me. I guess I'm not gonna,
Yep.
I'm not gonna be a nice guy talking to
See?
strangers." Like,
See? Yep. You're gonna run into a lot of those too, man. Oh man.
fraud.
You
I
get to
might
say
be a
that now.
noob, but I'm not a fraud.
He's not a poser.
All
Oh man.
right, I think that may be a show. Norway versus England starts in 30 minutes as we are recording here.
Oh word. I'll keep tabs on it.
Holland versus some other whites.
Some other. Oh my gosh, man. Majin Buu versus the whites. No.
So I'm hyped because I've been working all fucking week. I haven't caught any of Spain or Argentina or any of these games since fucking Sunday. It is Saturday
Yeah.
today.
Oh,
But I
days.
am hyped to watch this right now.
Fair enough.
I believe this was a great episode.
For sure. We both had a lot to talk about. So.
Oh yeah, plenty of clips to make out of this one,
Oh yeah.
to get some clicks. But that is the show. Of course, this show does not air weekly. I like to make sure everything is of substance that has a lot of replay value and have discussions that others don't normally have with appropriate depth to it. But if you're just tuning in, follow the show on every social media platform that I do not have the time to post on because I have a full-time job and a life. But I try my best. I was thinking of having another show with Jose actually do something weekly, like talking current events. 'Cause
Hmm.
that's initially the intention I had, but like I didn't want to talk politics because people online are fucking crazy, and I don't want them
True.
to fucking come into my space. But like I said, I love for this show to be of substance with a lot of replay value. So when this does air, I like it to have more substance to it and be treated as such with clips to go around. But I was thinking of starting another show, just a little more casual, less pressure on it. I
Yeah.
wouldn't even really be posting social media clips from it, but there's things to talk about every week, like fucking the bullshit Sony be on lately,
Tell me about it.
killing
This
discs.
this close to going to Xbox, bro.
And if you're following Mitch McConnell, fucking totally fucking dead, and our politicians playing Weekend at Bernie's, like there's a lot of silly shit to casually talk about
Yeah.
every week, but that can be its own thing. Anyway,
All right.
I thank everybody for listening. Y'all, don't destroy your city over your team. Everybody should
That's coming from me.
love each other and embrace one's culture. Let's end on that note.